Those were.
Okay, might have gotten it.
Okay. Okay, good morning. Welcome to the Delaware County Council meeting, May 24th, 2022, here in the Delaware County Commissioners Courtroom. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And if everybody would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Jane, you want to start us?
Yes. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, once again, questions from the public may be directed to the County Council website, and that's countycouncildist@co.delaware.in.us. You can talk to council members at any time during the month up to the meeting. And we will also have public comment at the end of the meeting if there is any. Okay, Denise, we need a roll call, don't we? Yep.
Mr. Ballard?
Here.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Ms. Piper?
Here.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Here.
Mr. Webb?
Here.
Mr. Alexander?
Here.
Mr. Freeman?
Here.
Smith? Here.
What was that last one? Is that Denise?
Yes.
Oh, okay, all right.
Could I say something?
Yeah.
I would just ask that everybody please keep Stephen, Amanda, and family in their thoughts and prayers, and hope for a quick recovery. I don't think it's going to be, but anyway, if you get to get. Amanda was in a motorcycle accident Friday night. Got fractured back, just got broken arm, leg, 3 ribs. I'm probably forgetting something, but she's having surgery today on her arm. She's gonna have to wear a full body brace for the fractures in her vertebrae for probably 3 months. So don't, of course, in the hospital, but they did move her out of ICU and she's in a regular room now. But she's gonna have a long recovery. So everybody just send their prayers. I'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Donna. All right, Denise, was the agenda posted?
Yes.
I'd sent you guys a change in the agenda. We've got a resolution that we put in there last night, so that'll be the agenda that we'll be looking at on that, and I would need an approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Ballard. Any questions or discussion from council? Roll call, please, Donna. Whenever you're ready.
I gotta get a sheet for that one. I didn't have my sheet for that one. I'm sorry, who made the motion?
I did. Piper.
Piper and Ballard with the second.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes. All right, and I would entertain an approval of the April meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Ballard. Any questions, corrections, or changes from council? Roll call, please, Donna.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes. All right, and you guys should have a copy of the resolution to repeal Resolution 2020-015. That was during COVID, and this is just kind of a cleanup on this. That was the hiring freeze that we've had in there, and it's something that we mentioned after we approved transfers, financials, and addendums on there. And if you approve this, we won't need to add that one on there.
I'll move to repeal.
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Webb. Any questions from council? Nope. Why don't we turn off our cell phones?
And that number is
Oh.
2022008.
008. Thank you, Denise.
Always leave it right in the truck, so I don't have a problem.
So you're repealing, okay,
2020-15.
okay,
And approving the new resolution.
that's it.
Any questions from council? Roll call, please. Donna?
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes. All right, thank you. And we are on with the transfers.
Okay, we're starting out with a transfer from Lowett 1170 Sheriff to Lowett 1170 Jail. That's going to be from 129, and that should read /001. Clothing allowance, negative 1,500, and that's going into 145-199 holiday pay, positive 1,500 for a total of 0.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Ballard. Any questions from council? Roll call, please, Donna.
Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Okay, next is Circuit Court, 127 Probation Officer, negative 15,000. 397 Pettit Jurors, positive 15,000 for a total of 0.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Lassiter. Questions from council? Anything you'd like to say, Emily?
Sure, of
Okay.
course. Emily Anderson, Delaware County Court Administrator. So this is part of our plan to help with the jury trial deficit money. We had extra money with all those probation officers that resigned, retired early. And then we'll also have ARP money that was approved to help with the long-term need. This is just, I just moved 15,000 for now. I don't know that I'll need another amount, which I'll talk to you about later when we have department head. I'll explain some more then.
Questions from council? Okay, Donna, roll call, please.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay, the next one is Clerk, and 125. And the first amount that we're going to be reading off has been changed from the $18,312 to $16,788.72. So we have 111 Deputy Clerk, negative $16,788.72. A111 Deputy Clerk, positive $16,788.72. Next, we have A128 Deputy Clerk, negative $17,234.40. And B128 Deputy Clerk, positive $17,234.40 for a total of 0.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Quakenbush. Any questions from council?
I have a question. So this is to replace two specific employees?
No, one employee. One employee left. We moved an employee up to the spot where that hole is and hired a new one for the bottom one.
Okay, so only one left.
One new employee, or not a new employee, replacing one employee that left.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Roll call, please, Donna.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Okay, Jail, 145. We have C115 Correctional Officer, negative $19,649.52. D115 Correctional Officer, positive $19,649.52 for a total of 0.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Quakenbush. Questions from council?
Yes, ma'am. Could you confirm, this is one employee, did they leave the county?
Yes, they did.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions? Any other questions? Okay, roll call, please, Donna.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Okay, next on our list, it originally read Justice Center. That needs to read Communication Center. And this is 124D 122 Communication Tech, negative $22,335.79. 124E 122 Communication Tech, positive $22,335.79 for a total of zero.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Ballard. Questions from council?
Yes, Fred, could you confirm, is this employee positioned into another position in the county, or did they leave altogether?
They passed away.
Thank you.
Roll call, please, Donna.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Excuse me. Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Okay, Sheriff, 129. We have 155 door bailiff for negative $16,451.98. A 155 door bailiff, positive $16,451.98. Total zero.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Webb. Questions from council?
Yes, ma'am. Is this a retiree or just leave?
This one just left.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call, please, Donna.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
JDAI, 340, travel and training is a positive $266.51. 410, equipment is a negative $266.51 for a total of zero.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Lassiter. And this is,
Explain.
yeah,
Emily Anderson, Court Administrator. This is for probation JDAI program. Jeff couldn't be here this morning. They needed some more money in their training. It's a grant, so they just needed to move a little bit more money into their training account. They had money left over in the equipment account, so that's what they're doing.
well, and I think if we, I think we had this discussion the other day, Thursday. I think this was.
It's
and it-
kind of like cleaning it up.
Yeah,
It's
there
the end
was
of the
a-
grant cycle.
There was a short amount that they had in a previous meeting they
Yes.
didn't have enough for, and this is to get
to
that
clean
fully
it up,
paid.
yep.
Yep. Okay. Any other questions from council?
Sheriff?
Roll call, please, Donna.
Yes, just a second. The sheriff was Piper and Webb. Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Thank you.
Jail Lowett, 1170. 110, correctional officer, negative $16,842.44. A 110, correctional officer, positive $16,842.44. D 112, correctional officer, negative $19,228.52. E 112, correctional officer, positive $19,228.52. Total zero.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Webb. Questions from council?
Ms. Nancy, of these two employees, did either of these move on to any other positions within the county government?
One went to merit deputy side, the other left.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call, please, Donna.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Statewide 911, 1222-466. 105 CAD coordinator, negative $3,650. B 103 supervisor, positive $1,240. D 102 supervisor, positive $470. D 106 supervisor, positive $1,240. C 116 IDACS or IDACS coordinator, positive $700. C 106 supervisor, negative $24,440. And D106 supervisor, positive $24,440 for a total of 0.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Webb. All right, questions from council?
Yes. Go ahead, Ryan.
What's that?
Oh, I thought Ryan was going to
Well,
say
I was
something.
going to, but go ahead.
I was just curious, was this similar to what we talked about last time with the combination of some employees?
So, yeah, I didn't get when we did part one last month, I didn't have part two done yet. Basically, what this does is it takes some money from the position that's going to remain open. I've adjusted the supervisor's pay a little bit because they are taking on added responsibilities due to the consolidation of positions. So this will still leave us with about $26,800 in overage in that line by redistributing it like this. So it's just a matter of combining positions and spreading the workload out a little bit more. So I think if I remember right from last month, I need a motion and an approval to amend the salary ordinance to these new amounts, and then the motion for the transfer, I
At
think.
the end.
Huh?
They do that at the end.
Okay. I thought we had to do it a special way last month, so.
Ben, did we need to make two on this one? Or since we're doing the salary ordinance at the end after this change, wouldn't that already?
So specifically, you're changing an existing job salary, you're reducing an existing job salary, or I'm sorry, increasing the
Correct.
salary
4 of them.
and reducing another one?
I'm
Is that where
taking
the
the money
savings is-
from a position that's gonna remain open, yes.
Okay.
I don't
agree with that. But that was already done last month though, right?
For the other position, yes.
But this is another position?
These are the other supervisory positions.
Okay, all right.
But you're taking money out of an existing position that is unfilled, but you're not eliminating that position.
I am in essence eliminating that
Will you
position.
eliminate it in
Yes,
the next budget?
yes.
We won't see,
You will not see CAD coordinator anymore. That position will no longer be there.
and that money that's left in there that you don't use by the end of this
Which is almost 20.
calendar
yeah.
year will go back to the general fund?
No, it goes back to the 911 fund. This is
Oh,
out of,
911.
this is out of, yes, it will.
I'm wrong there, yeah.
Yes, it will.
Go back to the 911 balance, operating balance.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I just remember last month that there had to be 2 votes for the same thing,
You
so.
worked with the Human Resources Director to change these job descriptions that
Job descriptions don't change. I'm just adding more responsibility to the supervisors. It still falls under their supervisory responsibility.
So, bottom line is, you're saying we didn't need a CAD coordinator before you came here.
I'm not saying that. I would never say that because I'm not going to say anything bad about past administrations. I decided to consolidate the CAD coordinator position with a supervisor position in order to save money.
And I would say too, to streamline some things.
That's
and
correct.
Make some things work more efficiently than they have been over the past few years, so, I don't have a problem with this. I think this is,
Okay.
this is what we're supposed to be doing as directors within your department. So I don't have any issue with this at all, so,
This is a change that has been discussed through the board, is that
yes. This is-
accurate? Okay.
This is
all right.
all, there's nothing outside the norm when it comes to.
By consolidating the 2 positions, my end goal was to have a weekend supervisor. And in order to have that weekend supervisor, I needed to combine 2 positions so that I didn't add a position. So this was the way to do that.
So this is, a lot of this is based off the strength and value of the person, your employee you had doing the CAD coordinator. You're gonna have him doing the supervisor as well. Is that right?
Yes.
Well, we kind of discussed what these amounts of these changes were, but they're not big amounts. I think the highest was 91 cents.
91 cents was the highest amount, yes.
Okay. And that only affected how many people?
2.
2 people,
Yeah.
okay, yep.
The other one was 34 cents and the other one was 50 cents.
34 and 50, did
Yep.
you say? Okay. Any more questions from council?
Since we're specifically increasing the line items on, I think, 4 different positions rather than just doing the normal swaps, it would probably be best practice to go ahead and have a motion to approve amending the salary ordinance for those 4 positions.
Okay. We have a motion and a second on now.
Didn't we do that on the others?
We did last month. We did the same thing he's saying now. We had to have 2 motions.
Last month, we did do 2 separate motions on that, but I'm kind of, I don't understand, since we're going to, all of these changes that happen in the salary ordinance, we'll approve those at the end, but we can, we want to make sure that we satisfy Ben and get this done the way we need to get it done. So we have a motion on the table, that's to approve these amounts.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Everybody understand that? And then we'll need another motion, and you can help me out with what that is when we get there. Any more discussion on this one? Roll call, please.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes. Now, Ben, can you help me out with that other, what that motion's gonna be?
Will be a motion to increase the 3 supervisors and the IDAX coordinators' salaries accordingly and reduce the offsets. I mean, you're not wrong, it's the same motion that you do typically. It's just because this is more specific than a lot of these are. A lot of these are just swapping positions. So it's a distinction. If you would prefer to wait till the end, I'm okay with it.
It's up to you guys, council.
I'm fine with whatever, as long as it's done legally correct.
You're gonna amend the ordinance one way or the other.
Are you telling me what to do? We'll go through
Okay,
this.
so we don't need to do that right now.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to the next line then. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next is Highway 1176. We have 147, negative 25,926.64, and A 147 for a positive 25,926.64 for a total of 0.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Ballard. Questions from council?
Yes, Carrie, is this employee promoted anywhere else within the county? Or did they
He
leave
did
the
not. He
county?
left outside the county.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call, please, Donna.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes. I think we have 2 addendums.
All right. Let's go to the first addendum.
Don't have it.
The first addendum.
Is he ready?
Okay, first is Circuit Court Department, D 140, pre-trial screening analysis, negative 18,609.78. E 140, pre-trial screening analysis, positive 18,609.78. Total 0.
Move to approve?
Second. Jane.
Motion from Piper, second from Lassiter. Okay. Questions from council? Roll call, please, Donna.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Okay, emergency medical services, 1,000. 178, paramedic, negative 34,137.20. A 178, paramedic, positive 34,137.20. E 118, advanced EMT, negative 32,645.14. F 118, advanced EMT, positive 32,645.14. Total 0.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Ballard. How's our patient? Can we get an update?
Yeah, he's doing, Megan Catino, Office Manager, Delaware County MES. He's doing good. They moved him over to, we moved him over to Bethel Point. He's progressing, but he's in Bethel Point, so. But we're trying to make things as normal as possible. So I think I'm gonna start going over every morning and lecturing him a little bit, trying to make him feel back at home.
I'm sure he'll be looking forward to
Yeah,
that.
I told him, I said, I can come yell at you today, and he's like, oh, I'm good, let's try that another time. I'm like, okay, just let me know.
Okay.
Well, I called him after I found out he'd been injured, and he finally called me back yesterday later in the afternoon. I couldn't get anybody. I tried to call you, but you were,
I'm, with going to see, back and forth to the
But-
hospital, it was just, yeah, it's been crazy without him. We miss him terribly. It's rough.
Sound like from our conversation that Commissioner Henry is supporting him, and he's probably gonna have a little triage unit setting up in his room at the rehab, so he can continue
Yes.
to operate, so he sounded in good spirits other than what he had. And
Yeah, he is
Of
now.
course, he had to describe to me what happened and what broke, you know, that type of language
Yeah.
the paramedics use.
He did quite a bit for
Yeah, he sure did.
the fall he took. He did quite a bit. He did it right.
All right.
Good to hear his voice, though.
A question real fast, if I could.
Any questions from council?
I do. Megan, are these paramedics, these are replacements, right?
One. So we had a paramedic leave, and we had a paramedic that was in an advanced EMT spot until we had an open medic spot. So we're moving him up to that medic spot. But yes, we had one medic leave. So one employee is not leaving, they're just getting an advancement up in a spot.
A while back, we were talking about waiving the requirement as far as the delay until they got the full pay. Have you noticed a difference in that as far as attracting the employees that we have? Has it made an improvement?
Good spirits.
Probably too soon to tell. Isn't
It is, because we've only had, I mean, just since not having that 90%, we've only brought in just a couple people. We haven't, the problem is we just can't get a lot of people to apply for jobs that we have open. So that's just, that's the only thing. But when they come right in and they know that they don't have to do the 90%, yeah, they're excited about that.
So
But,
with this opening, how many do you have open?
well, this one will be one more. We just filled one spot. So we'll have this one that we're hoping that she will accept the offer. Then in about a month or so, we will have another one open from a retirement, and we've got somebody else on a list. We were able to actually make somewhat of a list at this last hiring session that we had. So we had maybe 14 applicants, and we've got a list of 5 of them that we'll keep them on a list and then offer them as a position comes open.
Oh, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Roll call, please, Donna.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Public Defender's Office, 139. A175, Public Defender, negative 16,900. B175, Public Defender, positive 16,900. C152, Public Defender, negative 16,900. D152, Public Defender, positive 16,900, for a total of 0.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Ballard?
Yep.
Yep, okay. Questions from council?
Yes.
Didn't
Ms.
you
Shelley.
tell me you were gonna work with the courts on this, or?
We have a meeting set for
Tomorrow.
tomorrow. There you go.
I just would throw out a comment. I know some years back, when this same kind of subject came up, there was talk about putting full-time public defenders. Is there any discussion about that at this time, rather than having so many part-time?
We only have a couple public defenders who would be willing to consider closing down their private practice to take,
So this could be a combination of that?
don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah, Ron, I feel like we had a few years ago, this was a topic, and then it was pulled off the table for some, and maybe that was the reason. Maybe there weren't enough people who wanted to.
Frankly, we had one.
Oh, okay.
What is the number? Do you know the number of public defenders
Yes, we have 20 salaried public defenders. At the end of this month, we'll have 17.
How many openings are there right now with adding these two?
With these two, and then I've got one on the second addendum, there'll be 3 openings.
So how many total spots? Is it 20 or 21?
We typically have 20
Okay.
full-time salaried
Part-time.
public defenders.
Yeah. Part-time salary with benefits, right?
Right.
All right, we got a motion and a second, don't we?
Yeah.
Yep. And any other questions from council? Roll call, please, Donna.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jail, 145. D, 152, corporal, negative 27,895.48. E, 152, corporal, positive 27,895.48. B, 126, correctional officer, negative $21,053.06. C, 126, correctional officer, positive $21,053.06. Total, 0.
Move to approve?
Second?
Motion from Piper, second from
Jay.
Lassiter. Okay. Questions from council?
Yes, Ms. Nancy, same question I asked you earlier about these employees.
Corporal's position went to juvenile probation. Isn't that where she's at?
Can you speak
Yeah.
up louder?
Sorry. The corporal's position went to a juvenile probation. So she left us, and the correctional officer just left.
Thank you.
Roll call, please, Donna.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Communication Center, that previously read Justice Center as well as the other one a while back, and this should read Communication Center, 124. 107, C107, Communication Tech, negative 3,000. J108, Communication Tech, negative 4,000. H109, Communication Tech, negative 2,000. 194, Training, positive 9,000, for a total of 0.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Ballard. Questions from council?
Yes, I have a question for Mr. Cummins. These 3,000, 4,000, and 2,000, are those money deducted from open positions that weren't spent on salary?
Yes.
And you're now wanting to use them for training?
It's actually, this training line isn't named right. It's actually, it's to pay the training officers while they're training people. It was never actually worded right, which led to the confusion and why we're almost out of money, because it wasn't funded at the right level. So I had to find money in open lines to try to make sure that the training officers get paid.
Well, that should read training officer stipend.
Like
Yeah, basically,
contractual services?
basically, yeah.
Always been that.
All this time I thought it was actually to pay for training, and it's not, so.
Trainers.
Trainers.
Yeah.
With it being in the 100 series, that tells you it's paying a person for training.
Any other questions from council? Roll call, please, Donna.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter? Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes. Thank you.
Sheriff, 129. D109, Lieutenant, negative 26,511.83. E109, Lieutenant, positive 26,511.83. B122, Corporal, negative $32,023.05. C122, Corporal, positive $32,023.05. C143, Deputy, negative $24,321.24. D143, Deputy, positive $24,321.24. C117, Corporal, negative $25,550 even. D117, Deputy, positive $25,550 even. A103, Deputy, negative $24,321.24. B103, Deputy, positive $24,321.24. C, 118, negative 25,550 even. D, 118, corporal, positive 25,550 even. A, 136, deputy, negative 24,321.24. B, 136, deputy, positive 24,321.24. Total, 0.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Webb. Questions from council?
What is this? I don't understand it. You surely
Walker
didn't change
retired.
that many people.
Walker retired.
See the lieutenant?
Yes, he is the first one. So obviously I had to move that money around for the new lieutenant, which was moved up, which was Brown. He had been a corporal, so then that opened a corporal spot. Mitch Corey left our department and went to Hamilton County, so that opened another corporal spot. I moved that money, so again, another corporal's position to move up. And we moved deputies into all of those spots, which then opens the new deputies lines, which leaves us now with 4 openings as a deputy.
So out of these 7, how many people actually left?
2,
Thank you.
1 lieutenant and 1 corporal.
But the lieutenant was a retired,
Correct, he was a retiree.
so only 1 actually
Left for another agency,
Okay.
correct.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, I'd already moved that money, though, before. That's why it's not on here.
Any other questions from council? Roll call, please. Donna?
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Title 4D Court, 123. 105, Security Bailiff, negative 16,350.02. A, 105, Security Bailiff, positive 16,350.02. Total, 0.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Quakenbush. All right.
Are you going to ask me,
council.
Ryan? Because you didn't ask me last time. I feel left out.
We'll catch up. We'll make up on this one. Is this employee still
He's-
with
this
the
one,
county?
the sheriff stole them. He's going to security door bailiff. So he's actually moving over to sheriff's office.
Right. Thank you.
We're even because I took their correctional officer for our probation.
That's right. We had this discussion in finance, and where you guys are even for now. Any other questions from council? Roll call, please. Donna?
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now you're on addendum number 2.
Public Defenders, 139. A, 178, Public Defender, negative 15,000. B, 178, Defender, positive 15,000. Total, 0.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Quakenbush. Just for everybody's information, these haven't been approved through finance. They came into finances last minute, and we told them to go ahead and get them filed because they needed to get these done by today. Well, actually, even before today, so. Questions from council? Roll
Can I
call,
just-
please.
Can I
Donna?
just say that I really
Oh,
appreciate
hang on a
you.
minute.
Oh, sorry.
Yep. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I really appreciate you letting us add this at the very last minute. He quit last Wednesday before our finance committee meeting, so I really appreciate you letting us add this to the addendum for today.
Yep, and that's just another good reason to have that finance meeting in before, because there's a lot of things that get cleared up between finance and it also creates a lot more work to, to do that, so. Roll call, please. Donna?
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
CASA Capacity Building Grant, 9113. 101, Child Home and School Visitor 1, negative 20,525.82. A101, Child Home and School Visitor 1, positive $20,252.82. Total should read 0.
Are these both
They're together.
this together? You want to go ahead and
It's
read
one
the other one?
position, 2 pay lines.
You want to go ahead and read the other one in, Tanya?
Sure. VOCA Grant Fund 9116, A101, Child and Home Visitor 1, negative $12,972.16. B101, Child and Home Visitor, School Visitor 1, positive $12,972.16. Total 0.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Webb. Questions from council?
You may explain this.
Yeah, why
one.
don't you go ahead and
Okay.
explain that since
Emily
we-
Anderson, Court Administrator. The cost director couldn't be here, so I'm covering this for her. She actually hasn't had this filled since January, I believe, and so we were talking about another position that we need to fill, and she had forgotten to transfer this money. This person was supposed to start Thursday, so her start date will be Thursday, but we're not going to have her start logging any hours until after this is approved. This is a flexible position because they visit children at school in the evening, on weekends, the families. So I thank you for letting us get this in because she totally thought she didn't have to transfer this because it was a grant. So she's just replacing a person that had left. And then you'll see another one come through for next month with the same thing. She's replacing a person.
Any other questions from council? Roll call, please, Donna.
Quakenbush.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Ballard.
Yes.
Ms. Chambers.
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Thank you.
Emily, thanks for keeping us up to date. I know when there's something that comes up, you always reach out and call and give us a heads up, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, we are on to county general.
Okay, Jail Medical Services, 4914. 311, Hospital Services, positive 35,000 for a total of 35,000.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Webb. Questions from council? Roll call, please, Donna.
If you have the agenda that has the commissioner's mailroom clerk on it, that was withdrawn. There's 2 agendas out there floating around, so.
Yeah, Denise had updated that agenda to you, but if you printed out the old one, you probably have the one with,
Okay, thank you.
okay.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Ballard.
Yes.
Ms. Chambers.
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes. Tanya, let's skip on down to the elected official training fund, and then we'll come back to the American Rescue Plan.
Okay. Elected Official Training Fund, 1217. 397 Training Fund, positive 2,500. Total 2,500.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from Webb. Rick, you want to give us a
Yeah,
little
it's just
explanation?
transferring some money from the training fund to the clerk's office for some upcoming schooling that we have.
Any questions from council? Roll call, please, Donna.
Mr. Ballard.
Yes.
Ms. Chambers.
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
American Rescue Plan, 8950. 324 Infrastructure Stormwater, 1,500,000. 325 Oakville Project, this amount has changed from 4,500,000 to 3,500,000. Therefore, our total is total 5 million. Sorry.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion from Piper, second from, where'd that come from?
Ballard.
Ballard, okay, thank you. All right, questions from council? Or you guys want to go through an explanation on this for council, or?
Well, President Sherry Riggin, Commissioner, District 2, thank you for the opportunity. We are putting some plans together to work on these 33 neighborhoods that we have out in the county, and the 1.5 million will help us with the stormwater issues. and even on some county roads where the bigger farm equipment nowadays crashes culverts and whatnot. But we just need your blessings to get this money appropriated and on the books.
Okay, and just let all of you guys know, there was some discussion in Finance Committee, and the numbers weren't matching, but all of that, I think, has been resolved after a lot of work and a lot of back and forth to make sure. Is everybody on the same page there? You're all good? You're all good?
I believe so, yes.
Donna, you're all good?
And Mr.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
if they're appropriating money, yeah. And I will say, at finance, I told you we did not know when we were gonna get our money yet. Friday, I got an email, so Steve came in, they finally opened the portal Friday, so Steve was able to, go in and put our request in. Everything submitted, the submittal was approved, and it says that you will receive your money within 12 months of the first, distribution. Our first distribution we got on June 14th last year, so I'm expecting the money anytime.
Okay, but we don't have it as of right now, or,
We should have it before June 14th,
Okay.
according to their statement.
All
So
right.
this 5 million is to come out of the money that we don't have yet? Is that right?
Partially.
And Mr. Brooks here, if you had any questions about the Oakville project.
but I think there, what we kind of talked about, and Donna said in the Finance Committee meeting, is we're actually approving this for a greater amount than what we already have, but the anticipated income coming from the other amount is gonna make up for that.
Correct.
Is that your understanding? Okay, all right,
That's our understanding.
okay. You guys have anything else you wanna?
Well, are we referring to the third amended recovery plan, or are we referring to the second?
This is the third amended plan that was adopted by the commissioners on the 16th of May.
I read it this morning, guaranteed. And I commend you, John, for putting this together, but on page 5, down at the bottom, there's an awkward sentence. It says the plan will be a living breath. And then it has the next word capitalized, describe how our planned or current use of funds incorporates written, or I'm wondering if.
It's a living, breathing document.
Yeah,
so
I think
it's
it
gonna be
needs a little
amended.
help there, just for your sake, so that I thought that's what you meant. But nonetheless, when I read stuff, some darn reason, I have a habit of noticing things like that. I really think that I'm wondering, since I'm a lame duck, through the procedure, I know in the past, when I was a commissioner, we had revenue sharing, and the council had no jurisdiction over that revenue sharing other than to approve it. Is this going to be the same way as these projects come forward? Will this go to the council members at that time to approve them like you're asking today for these 3 individual? And just for public knowledge, this, the way I'm reading this, the total of this amount is $20,097,000.
Correct. That's less than the 22 million that we were allocated by the Treasury Department.
That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. It's a lot of money the Treasury gave to the county.
And just to digress back to my early age when I was a JC and was less than 35 years old, Mayor Cooley came to a meeting and spoke to us, and I knew nothing about politics at the time, and I went up and asked the mayor, and we were opposite politics at the time, how do you feel like justifying taking this money? It's still taxpayer money. His answer was, and I've never forgotten it, and I've always had to relate back. He says, if we don't take it, somebody else is gonna get it. And I just like let the public know that's kind of an interesting way our governments work and how local governments sometimes can be blessed and other times the government would create a new mandate for us locally and don't fund it. We have to figure it out on our own how to fund it, so it's very complicated. But this is a good document, John. I don't agree with some of the projects, but one of the projects in there is to clean up the mess at the Rorton project and to digress again. That's the reason I'm on this council. It's because some people came to me and said, Ron, you need to get back involved because that project is a mess. And that's when they were doing the project. So you're cleaning up a mess I came here to try to clean up, but we haven't had the money to do it. That's all I have to say this morning. Well, no, I got more probably, but.
Well, I want to commend you guys again for all the work that has gone and all the work that will continue to go into this. It's a lot to think about. I know you guys have thought long and hard about and had to answer already and probably will have to answer again down the road. So I appreciate all your work.
Well, Scott, now have you talked to Ben, or is the council going to approve each one of these projects as it comes forward as appropriation? Individual appropriation?
Yes, the council has to approve the original appropriations for the projects, yes.
And this living, breathing thing, if something changes, will the council then approve the changes?
The council wouldn't be approving the changes, the council would be approving any necessary additional appropriations.
Well, what if it's less? What if it falls away and they want to use it for something else?
If they're transferring the money within existing projects, that's at their discretion.
Okay.
As long as they're keeping the appropriate paperwork and keeping the auditor happy.
Now, do we, as council, approve this third amended, or is this approved by the commissioners only?
That was approved by the commissioners. We're approving the appropriation to fund portions of
Okay.
that plan.
Okay. And so the future projects will come before council just like these are? Because some of this.
If they require new appropriations, yes.
For each one as the project is implemented, the first appropriation will come before the council, because some of this is going to be 2-3 years into the future.
Correct. There'll be another request for appropriation once the money comes in from Treasury to fund other projects that are in this particular plan. We're not asking, commissioners aren't asking to fund all the projects in this plan at this point, knowing that the money hasn't come in yet.
Well, it's pretty much a given that 3 of our members won't be here next year.
Well, we're hoping to get the money in this year because then we can start making the appropriations and then start using the money for these particular projects that are going to take, you have to spend this money by December 31st, 2026. You have to have it appropriated and out by 2024. So that's kind of the time crunch the commissioners have. Some of these projects are pretty long-term projects that we're going to be having to hustle to get it done by 2026.
But I'm sure you guys are going to approve additional amendments to the plan as time goes on and projects are completed or removed or whatever that may be. So
that will be up to the commissioners. There may be money left over in certain projects that could help fund other projects or move around.
But if it's moved to another project, it won't be a transfer, is that correct?
There will be a transfer, yes.
It'll still be a transfer, so that won't come to council.
A transfer within the 300 series.
That won't come to council.
No, it'll be a letter transfer.
Fine. I think that needs to be clarified.
Well, and also at the beginning of the year, they don't have to come back each year. Since we have a ongoing project, the balance in the appropriations at December 31st are encumbered. So they automatically have an appropriation on January 1st because we can encumber those balances that they have not spent on December 31st because it's an ongoing project plan.
Well, one that caught my eye, we received just recently a report from the courts about the public defenders need for ARP money. I've got it here somewhere. But then in this plan, there's only $75,000.
Correct.
For public defenders, but that was like 100 and some thousand.
Actually, the Public Defender Center requested the Commissioners for 1.8 million.
Was that how much? I didn't remember that number. Well, okay, but did that request come before this document was prepared?
It did, and it was considered. I worked with Emily on moving some money around and addressing some of the needs. I talked with the Chief Public Defender and the President of the Public Defender Board as to what they really needed immediately, and that was the $75,000 for contract counsel to help pay contract counsel, because I think that money was already just about depleted, if not pretty close to being depleted. And so that was the incentive to try and get more contract counsel on board to address certain cases.
Okay.
And that helps with the backlog during COVID, as far as to try and get things caught up.
It will help, yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
And there's another $75,000 for the courts for jury trials. So the courts had one project was with mediation, $250,000. We've now divided it into 3 different projects. One for mediation, one for jury trials, and one for public defender.
Well, I've got it here, 1,859,500.
Yep. I thought it was 1.8.
So that 75 was that after, this is April 26, 2022.
Right.
This document here was prepared before that.
Well, the basic bones were prepared before that, but it wasn't approved by the commissioners till the 16th.
Yeah.
I've been in contact with the public defender about a
Okay.
number,
Okay.
and I knew approximately what the number was. I asked them to put it down on paper so that they could show me how they got to that point. And that's what the commissioners approved on the 16th.
Well, we actually discussed it our last meeting, that they should be eligible for ARP money, but now we've got specifics.
Right. And there may be, the commissioners may make some more money available to them as they see some of these projects. Some of these projects, these are estimates on what these projects are gonna cost. So there may be.
I'm sure that's true, yeah.
For example, there's $125,000 left from the employee retention bonus that wasn't paid out, at least, so. That's money that
Expiring
can be
money
moved.
left in Pike and Perth too.
Right. About $150,000 between all 3 of those that could be moved around.
Now, will the county auditor be responsible for all of this transition of money from the bids to paying the contractors to, or from the federal regs? Do you have to hire somebody, the commissioners have to hire somebody else to audit this?
No, there's administration fees in the plan itself.
I saw
And
that.
Treasury's allowed up to 10% of the total amount received for administration. We had several discussions with the auditor's office and the treasurer's office about the process for approving claims, and I think the auditor's office has a dedicated ARP claims processing clerk. I think that's Becky, if I remember right. And there's documents to be filled out and forms to make the process easier. And so the reporting can be easier. I think the auditor also purchased some software to help the reporting to Treasury.
Any other questions from council?
Yeah, I'd like to say something here. So when we first was all notified that we would be one of the communities, well, really all the communities receiving money, we found out we were going to be receiving $22 million. It put a lot of pressure on everyone as far as to make sure that money, every penny of it was spent in a transparent and productive way. Now, government limited in what we could spend it on, so it made it pretty simple to choose some things. And from the public's perspective, it kind of frustrated them because, I know you guys all see the same social media I do as far as everyone complaining about roads and things like that. And people don't realize that we can't spend the money on roads, paving roads. At best, we could do is replace the sewers under the roads and then pave the roads after that. But that's wasteful. So when commissioners come up with this plan, there are a lot of limitations on what the money could be spent on. Now, as Councilmember Quakenbush mentioned, and Mr. Book mentioned, there's been the 3rd revision to the plan. But what's changed since that original plan came out is, from what I've been told, they have really drastically reduced the restrictions on how the money can be spent. Things that weren't eligible before have now become eligible. For me, and I have the utmost respect for the commissioners and the effort that's went into this plan, Mr. Walters, Mr. Bookout, as far as for these projects and the effort they put in. I've sat down and went over and met with them all about these issues. I just can't get past some of the things as far as some of the, and I know some folks disagree with me as far as our role in the council as far as to weigh in on where this money goes. I personally think, and this is just my personal opinion, with the commissioners creating the plan and developing the plan, there really is no checks and balances other than what we appropriate here. So for me, for the public to see, it's important for me for the public to notice that someone is asking questions and you know, doing whatever can to make sure that this is spent in the right way and having some sort of checks and balances. Because if it's not us up here, then who is it? It's no one else. Once we appropriate this money, it's off and gone. And as Mr. Quakenbush said, if it wants to be changed after the fact, it can be changed. So for me, I was hoping that those revisions, and I noticed there were some things that were changed, but I would like to see some more stuff, you know, with everything going on right now and everybody's hitting with the inflation. You know, there's things in there like child care assistance and rental assistance, things that could have a greater impact on more folks in the community is where I would like to see something going. And for me, it's a difficult stretch to get to. I know when the officials get this kind of money, it's desire to do projects they wouldn't normally get money to do. Such as like sewer projects and things like that. Now, granted, that's one of the things the money has to be spent on, but I just think for the people in the community, it's a tough sell when everyone's really, really struggling, and we're spending millions and millions of dollars on all these different sewer projects. I'd like to see some diversification in some of these projects myself. But anyway, you guys did a great job putting the plan together and presented it, and I appreciate the revision and keeping us up to date on what you're doing.
Councilman Webb, I appreciate your words, but we have to be realistic as we're kind of a small staff and things are very tight, and handing out public money, I mean, it's just tough.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just something that we leave to the nonprofits. So, yeah, it's just at this time I don't think doable. But we have a lot of issues, and one of the good things that I'm working on right now is some paving out at the new Justice Center. The grade's not real good, so the employees have to walk through a lot of water to get to the sidewalks, and we don't have any handy parking. So just things like that we have to deal with first. But I appreciate your sincerity on the other.
Thank you,
Thank
Commissioner.
On transparency, though, I don't, I'm going to have to disagree with Mr. Webb on this, though. I don't feel that the commissioners, Mr. Brook, or anybody has been hiding anything or necessarily not been descriptive as to the projects themselves. So that's
Okay.
where that, well, no, hold on, let me finish. That's where we're going to disagree. I think the stipulations when it comes to what this money can be used for, they change daily. So it's not something that one week you can be up and think that you know what all this can be used for, and then the next week it changes again. So, you know, I think you guys have been, and I would say a lot of it is you're rolling the dice because you don't know what's going to change, when it's going to change, and how it's going to go. So I'll commend you guys. I think that the idea of transparency has been there, and I know I get tired of hearing that word because you know, within local government, especially in with everything that's happened in the past with the city of Muncie and whatever else, transparency is always a trigger word. But you know, I truly believe that you know, this is all stuff that we do need to have done, but we are limited as to what we can do with those funds. So,
If I could clarify on that, I don't mean to imply, and I hope no one took it that way, as far as when I say transparency, I'm not implying that deals will be done in the back room and hoping no one notices. What I'm saying is, We have to go above and beyond to reach the people to make sure that they understand. We can get in a routine of knowing the material, and it's very easy to gloss over certain things because we already know what we're talking about. But I'll just use a reference. I watched that meeting on the 16th, and I barely caught what they were talking about, and I know what's going on. So I'm just trying to think of it from the perspective of someone who's sitting at home watching a live stream who really isn't in the loop. And I guess that's why I'm over descriptive in things sometimes, because I remember when I was sitting out there before I was elected, I didn't know what people were talking about a lot of the time. And I always commended Councilman Quakenbush for taking the time to explain what we were going over. So that's what I was referencing, not necessarily implying that anyone was trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes or anything. So I apologize if that's the way it was taken.
Well, it's real easy to sit back and second guess, but you guys have have timelines you have to deal with to get these projects in and to get them under construction, to get them completed. We realize that things change, and again, I say this almost every meeting when we talk about the public input, that you can talk to your council people at any time during the month, but the time to express your opinion to the commissioners on this project is before the project is updated or completed, not really afterwards, and trying to make those, second guess those, I guess, is my advice to not just council members and government officials, but the public in general. I mean, if you want to have some input, the commissioners are also accessible 30 days of the month too. So feel free to reach out and express your opinion and give suggestions, and they may or may not decide that that's something that they want to pursue. But again, we appreciate all the hard work that's gone into this, and it's probably nothing that any of us ever thought we'd have to deal with, is this amount of money thrust upon every county in Indiana and in the United States, and decisions are made differently in every county. So we appreciate it.
It's designed by Congress to address your local concerns and local needs. It wasn't something that Congress said, you guys are going to spend it on this only because we think that's best for you. So they gave the local government the option of spending it as that they need in their local area. This plan is infrastructure heavy. There is some overlap with the infrastructure bill, which came out about a year later, that will have some other money in there for infrastructure projects. But the core basic amounts or what you could spend this money hasn't changed. The only thing that's really changed is clarifying the words that Congress put out, because Congress is great in putting out words that don't make a lick of sense until you get some clarification, and Treasury's done that several different times.
Well, and it'll probably continue to change until the project's complete, or all the money runs out, I guess, so, anyway.
I have one more
Okay,
thing. So just, John or Sherry, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that the county is focusing on outside of the city limits with their dollars, and then the city of Muncie actually received significantly more than the
Right,
county did.
correct.
And so the city of Muncie will be covering within the city limits. Is that correct?
Correct. That was a discussion the commissioners had with the mayor and the president of the city council early on, is they would address more of the social aspect of it, and the county would focus in on infrastructure out in the county.
So I guess if you have any more questions about poor relief or any of those concerns that Councilman Webb had, then reach out to your city council for
Correct.
further guidance.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, with that, I'll entertain a roll call.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
No.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
6-1.
That should be
That's it.
everything,
All
right?
So,
No other last minute.
all right. In that case, motion to approve financial transfers and to amend salary ordinance with like reductions.
Period. All right. I've got a motion, I need a second.
Ballard.
Second from Ballard. All right, roll call, please. Donna?
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers? Yes. Mr. Alexander?
Yes. And do we have any committee reports? No ordinances or resolution. Any department heads wish to speak? Come on up.
Hi, Pam McCammon, Human Resource Director. With this job situation and not filling the spots, my office, we've decided to have a job fair. We're going to try it. It's going to be at the fairgrounds, June 8th from 10 to 12, and we're going to put it in the John Wright Pavilion. And so we've invited the departments that need jobs filled, we've invited them to come out. I don't know how it'll turn out, but we've tried everything, so this is our last, not our last resort, because we'll keep trying, but we're just not getting anything in. So we tried that, and I think, like Emily's signed up, and I talked to the sheriff this morning, like, it'll just, if they bring a squad car, if EMS brings in, just something to draw people in. So we're going to try it.
Could you repeat that date and time again?
Yeah, it's June 8th from 10 to 2 at the fairgrounds.
Thank you.
Good idea.
That's all I needed. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's a great idea. Pam, I appreciate you guys doing it, and I think there have been a couple other job fairs, and I've gotten mixed reviews on how they've gone. Some of them, I know we sit on the CCA, and I think CanPac had theirs, and they had, according to the numbers, had 500 people, and I think Mr. Webb, I think I talked to you the other night. You guys had one recently and had a number of people, but finding qualified people.
Right. Yeah.
Changes things.
We're going to give it
but
a try.
Thank you.
I had something else.
Thank you.
Oh, I still don't have it.
Oh, thank you.
You got enough, because I've got mine from finance. Is this the same
No,
thing?
this is
Oh,
different.
different one, okay.
You probably don't need that, but I'll give you one anyway. Just so you can follow along.
Thank you.
So, Emily Anderson, Court Administrator. So I'm coming here today, kind of to ask for a blessing, to do something. Jeff put together this memo just to kind of give you an idea of what we want to do. So this year, we've had a record number of probation officers retire, resign that have maximum time, maximum experience, which means they got paid the maximum salary. And when we bring people in that are new, we have that range. They're coming in at a lower rate. So we have kind of like a situation that we don't usually have. We have all this extra money. So we're looking at all this money and we're like, okay, this probably will never happen again. And we're looking at the needs of probation and the courts. Well, one need is jury trials. We all know that. The other need is that during pandemic, Jeff had to use most of his computer replacement plan on laptops because they all had to work remotely. So his computer replacement plan has kind of gotten behind. So we would like to take, we've got $69,000 extra money between all the salary line items. We would like to take half of it and put towards PCs for the probation department. Like replace all of them and get them taken care of. And then he can start back in on saving money up to do his computer replacement plan. So as you can see, for that amount, that's $35,000. The PCs, $945, they've gone up. It's just part of it. And the Windows, which is the Microsoft Windows, it's actually $291, not $298. The other part is that they have they are the stepchildren of our departments, unfortunately, when it comes to furniture. And they have had all the hand-me-downs. They go to other departments. They go to the basement. And they have a hodgepodge. They have awful chairs. So they gave me half. We split the money half and half with the $69,000. We'd like to take 35 of it and get them new PCs across the department. And then they would like to take the other half, give it to me. In doing so, that out of their fund, they would like to take money, which is about the same amount, $30,000, and get all new furniture, desks and chairs. The problem is we need to order the furniture like now. because at Thomas, he said that he's been told that it's going to go up within, like, before July. So I never want to, I never want to purchase anything before the money's transferred, but I couldn't get it in time. So I'm kind of here asking, could we go ahead and order the furniture, and I'll put the transfer in next month? That'll be coming out of probation fund, and he has plenty of money in the probation fund. I can give you those numbers if you want that. And B, if I can ask to use 30,000 of our extra money in our line items to purchase computers, but I won't purchase those until that transfer is approved.
For me personally, I have a hard time with the situation that we're in, and I mean, and I understand you said that the money's there. It seems like every time, it's just human nature. We free up some money somewhere and we want to look for a place to spend it. For things that are completely just absolutely not necessary at the moment, or that you can get by with, like desk and chairs and really even computers at this point. I mean, I guess I should have showed you my chair I'm working with at work right now. It's a safety hazard, but it's just difficult for me to get there at that moment. I mean, I'm not speaking for anyone else here. I'm just saying for me, with the money crunch that we're in, and just it'd be nice if we could just bang
Can I
some
tell you
money
where
in
where
we
we're
free up.
at? If we don't do this, then we'll have to appropriate, because we won't have it next time. That's why we look at it this way. Like, if we don't take advantage now and computers start failing in his department, we'll have to come back and ask for money from County General. So we're trying to take advantage and say, okay, well, look, like, he's gone at least 5 years without new computers, new PCs. They're going to start failing. So then we have to come back to County General next year when we don't have it and say, we need to replace 15 computers. Then you guys are going to be yelling at us because, why didn't you take, out of your budget? So that's why we looked at our money and our situation and said, hey, this is like unprecedented. This never happens. What can we do? Now, I'm not saying that we will spend every dime. I'm not asking to spend every dime. I never do. And he's taking some out of his fund, but we need to replace some stuff. And honestly, he's the only department in the county that does not have new furniture. Every department has new furniture, except for him.
Well, we did do that deal several years ago where anybody had used furniture, and so he's probably got a lot of that
He
stuff.
has all,
Got
yeah.
some of our old
He's
furniture.
he's a hodgepodge.
Yeah.
It's kind of embarrassing if you go in there, you look at the new facility and you come into his office and it's like everybody has different things. So he really has been very patient. His department has been very patient in replacing, and we keep telling them, we'll get to you, we'll get to you. So we're just trying to take advantage of where we're at right now and give them that.
Your retirees were at the maximum, which is set by the state.
Mm-hmm.
So when those new employees come in, they start at the
Below, it's like
entrance
it's like a $20,000,
Right,
more than a
so
$20,000 difference.
That's why the reason the money's sitting out there is because
Right.
the retirees were there many years, were at the max, and when you replace them, they have to come in at the
Right.
entrance level of a probation officer, which is not set by you, it's set by the state. So that's what's freed up money.
Yeah, my budget will be lower next year because of that. But I really, honestly, normally we would just leave the money there and draw from it as we need it through the year. That's what we usually do. But he had told me, earlier this year, he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do about computers. Like, we have not replaced computers. We've been using that money for laptops. And then this happened. We're like, we could really use that. And then looking at his fund, we looked at the furniture situation, and we're like, well, his fund is healthy enough to at least fund that without digging into his, baseline, which they have worked their butts off collecting those fees.
Well-
So,
When we were at our last meeting, we were talking, everybody was up here, the turnover, it's tremendous. Everybody wants raises. And I made the suggestion, I said maybe it's start time that we look at reducing some positions. And to clarify what that meant, I didn't want to infer
that-
far laying
we
anyone
did
off or
that.
anything like that. I said that.
No, we did it. We reduced positions.
Well, I think-
when we were borrowing
I
money.
say,
to
we're already
operate
at
on.
skeleton crews in my
Yeah.
department, so I don't know where you're going to reduce.
I know, but everybody says that though when they
We
talk about
actually
reducing.
did it. We were borrowing
Oh.
money to operate on.
if we did something like that, because that's the only way we could really give anybody money is to trim some fat in some departments. So if we did that, and I'm not saying we would, but if we did, how could I justify that? Because like you're saying, you're a skeleton.
Well, how do you
crew. So how could I
reduce,
tell you that
Ryan, not to be disrespectful,
give you
how do you reduce the
$30,000?
office with 2 people?
Well,
How do
obviously,
you reduce the
can't
office
do it
with 3
across the
people?
board. There's
That's
some
what I'm
place,
saying.
Like John's office, he's got, he's got like 1 person, or Kyle. They got very few people. I understand.
I mean, my whole court's like that. I have 3 courts with 3 people. You can't reduce that.
What I'm getting at though is the ones where you can reduce it. If that conversation come up, they would say, well, you're gonna reduce my position, but so-and-so just got $30,000 in new furniture.
Okay, but this was already in my budget, and I'm just asking that I use this money for things we need. So to me, it's like I'm trying to be transparent, forthright, and asking, hey, can I use this for something else because we really need it? It's not me coming to you and saying, hey, I want to waste this money on something. It's more of me saying, hey, I really need this. We have waited. We have taken seconds and hand-me-downs all this time. The courts only got new desks because I strategically took money each year and bought 1 or 2. I don't know that I can do that this year. I don't know that I can do that next year. I happen to be able to do that. I can't replace 23 more desks.
Oh, let go your thing.
I'm prepared to make a motion to approve this transfer as presented.
When's the transfer deadline?
I mean,
You could itemize those things to us today. I'm prepared to make a motion to put it on the floor to approve it.
so it would be,
That's why. She's fine, yeah. We have deadlines that Denise said.
yeah, I just need blessing to,
Then we have
honestly,
second
I just need
agenda.
to be blessed to order the furniture. The next month I would come in with the transfers. So I
Hang on just a
can't,
minute,
I don't have
Emily.
transfers.
Hang on.
Emily, hang on just a minute. I want to hear what,
Transfer Ron's asking me, since it's a transfer, don't have to be advertised. If Emily could read the transfers that she's requesting today, yes, it can be approved, if you guys want to approve it. If she can go ahead and read those off right now, Ron's wanting to approve the transfer today. The transfer does not have to be advertised. That's why we have 2 addendums this month, because people didn't get them in by the deadline, which I know those were circumstances, but you've done this before in your council meetings when somebody's come up and said, I really need this, and I couldn't get on the agenda because it was too late, just found out yesterday, whatever. Since it's a transfer, that's what Ron would like, Emily to read them off so he can make a motion to go ahead and approve that transfer today.
okay, before you do that, I just want to let council know that in Finance Committee, Emily came to us with this, and our suggestion was to bring this to council on Tuesday. I don't know that we had amounts in place, but if you have amounts in place that you can do that,
I mean, I have all
okay with
the
doing that,
information if you, yeah.
But I would encourage you too to, if this does get approved, then be really cautious about what you spend.
Right, I mean, even if I transfer over this amount that I'm asking for, it doesn't mean I would spend every single
You never do.
penny.
So Donna, to answer your question, the only issue is just that it would be the council to take a vote on motion and approve it. So if you're okay with it on the accounting side of things and can record everything properly, then, and it's the council's pleasure to make a motion and vote on it, I have no issue.
Yeah, she just needs to read the account number with the dollar amounts that she's moving from, account numbers that she's moving the money to with the dollar amount. So it comes
And I
back
think-
to 0.
Yeah, if we go back to the Finance Committee, I think Emily's intent was to try and get your okay to go ahead and place this order.
Just the furniture, so it doesn't go up 10%.
Yeah. Is
Well,
where
there's
she
another
was at, but,
statute that reads that the vendor is obligated to make sure that money's been appropriated before they accept that order.
Right, and that's why I didn't want to place the furniture order until I made sure that you guys were gonna,
Council approval.
exactly.
A council blessing is not a council approval.
If it's your intention to, excuse me, to actually encumber those funds, then my suggestion to the council would be then you need to entertain a transfer vote to transfer those funds, so that she's not encumbering money that has not been properly appropriated.
Do you-
Or transfer.
I have the
Transfer
line item,
Yeah,
yeah.
if you could give those to us, read those in.
So it's 2100-0000-5-00000-441. That's, I need that to be appropriated, the 29,682.62 needs to be appropriated into that line item.
29,000 what?
682.62,
That's a plus, right?
that's a plus, that's an
Okay.
appropriation.
You don't have to read all those zeros. 2,100.
2100-214-5-441.
And it's going where?
That's the appropriation into that line item, because that's his,
Sorry, where's it coming from?
it's appropriation out of his cash balance.
Oh, that's a new appropriation?
That's a new appropriate,
Oh,
see,
they
that's what I'm
can't-
saying, we
they
can't do that.
today.
We can't do
He's wanting to
that.
know what your transfers are.
That would be,
So scratch that. They can't do a new appropriation.
Can't do that, that's
well,
jabber.
so I could pay for the furniture out of the transfers and appropriate for the PCs
Yeah.
out of next month, out of the 2100 series.
Give us the right numbers and I'll make the motion.
All right, so I need 29,000. So $9,000 can come out of transfer from 138 A125. That's the court. Do you need all the numbers?
That's a minus.
Minus 9,000. Let me keep track of this. And then minus 6,000 out of 138, 127. That's 15 altogether so far, right? Mm-hmm. So I need another 15. And 15,000 out of 138, A161.
161?
A161.
Okay, that
15,
gives you 30,000.
Right. Which would cover the 29,682.62
and you need a plus 30 where?
to 138, 5, blah, 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 441.
Yeah, plus 30.
Plus 30.
Okay, so I'm gonna read this back in. It would be A125 be minus 9,000, 127 minus 6,000, A161 minus 15,000, 441 plus 30,000, which equals 0.
I make a motion to approve the transfer as read by the auditor.
Second.
Got a motion from Quakenbush and a second from Piper. Would you tell me what those amounts are again?
A125 minus 9,000. 127 minus 6,000. A161 minus 15,000. 441 plus 30,000. Total 0.
That's Department 138, right?
And the court's department.
I'm just double checking. Give me 1 second.
And she'll have to come back next month with a new appropriation.
Yep. That was what I gave you, yep.
Good with that?
Yep.
Okay. Got a motion and a second. Discussion from council. Roll call, please, Donna.
Ms. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Well, as much as I can empathize, I can't always say yes, so I'm gonna say no on this one.
Okay,
Thank you for the presentation.
you're welcome.
You did say no, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Ms. Lassiter?
Yes.
And Mr. Alexander?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Well, Scott, I have bought furniture for 3 offices in this building, and I don't know if Ron will remember it or not, but he told me he was on council, and he said he would give me the money for the furniture if I come up with half. So they've come up with
The whole amount,
the
yeah.
whole amount.
Well, government is an interesting phenomenon. If you're running your own business, you don't have all these statutes and regulations to work everything into. And that's why I was having a little empathy with, I think we've had this problem before where the vendors told us prices going up. And
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, Council. Tommy Humbert, Delaware County Highway Superintendent. In the finance meeting the other day, there were some issues there was some talk on some issues. I really didn't know where I stood, so I want to bring it up today. I won't get deep into it, but I'll answer any questions from any of you guys. I need a huge favor. This 90%, I've got to get rid of this, either suspended for a short period of time or permanently. I'm trying to hire people. This is a problem. There's other problems, but this is a start. So, I'm going to ask you guys, please, I really need this done to help me. Any questions, I'll answer from anyone.
well, how does your employees that have been there 20 years feel like a new hire coming on that's untrained to your process for 3 months? How do they feel that you're going to pay that new hire just as much as they're making?
Okay, Ron, so.
Because that's what the
That's a good
90%
question.
was put in there for, was
Yeah, that's a good question.
recognize those that were dedicated employees and had been trained.
Absolutely. And I think I can answer that. So now, we can't hire anybody but a CDL driver.
Right.
So, they're going to be trained, they're going to have the same training as driving as what the guys there have, a CDL. And right now, it's really unattractive to have this run. That's 3 months.
For their CDL training.
Who pays for what now?
The CDL training,
They pay for they pay for their own.
they have a CDL when you hire them?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't hire anyone anymore without a CDL. Used to, we could bring them in with a permit, but we can't anymore. But yeah, this is a major problem for me because I'm bringing a trained professional in, okay? And, I don't want to get real deep on it. With what we pay per hour, I am fighting, and I'm trying to promote this place. And when I say I'm fighting other places. There's places up here, and I'm right here. And I can't offer the money that these trucking companies can pay. So I have to count on my employees, who are good employees, to help when these people come in, talk to them, give them all the good perks about working at the county highway. I think it's a good, positive environment. I think that helps a lot. There's a lot of things that we do have out there that is a plus. The hours, the 410s. So I'm trying to look at all the things I can use for a positive to attract people. But I just lost a guy the other day. I won't say 100% I lost him because of this, but he told me it's 3 months. He's like, I've done this stuff my whole entire life. I've had a CDL for so long, and you're going to tell me I'm going to make $1.92 less per hour?
We have an ordinance, just to interrupt you a minute, 2021-013. It was signed by most everybody that's on this council today, except Mr. Ballard didn't sign it. I don't know why, but it says, Section 8B of the Delaware County Salary Ordinance is hereby amended by adding the following sentence. Provided that the department head or office holder in charge of the Public Safety Department, Communications Center, Emergency Medical Service, County Jail, or Sheriff's Department may waive the 90% salary requirement during the probationary period by written notice to the county auditor and Human Resources Department and employ a newly hired individual who has experience in a comparable position, full position salary. We need to, if the council so agrees, just to put the highway department in there, and you would have an amendment that would allow you to do what these departments already are allowed to do. The ones that are, I just read off. That would cover what you're talking about.
Okay.
If I could say something for a second, though, what he's saying, I've heard pretty much every department head get up here and talk about the battle that we're having on getting people. We can't even get applicants. For me, it's 90 days. I know to us it's not that big of a deal, but apparently these applicants, it's everything. It's not that much. I would make a motion to just amend that to include all departments. If we're going to do everything that we're trying to do to get applicants for these departments, let's just do away with it and make an amendment. I would make a motion to amend that to completely include all departments and basically just do away with the whole 90-day rule.
Well,
Is that a motion?
I am making that motion.
The ordinance amendment would need to be brought forth at the next meeting.
Okay.
Unless you want to completely suspend all of your rules, and there has been no ordinance prepared at this point either.
So it would be something we would need to do at the next meeting.
Yes.
Well, and this is discussion that's happened over the, again, we don't do everything at this meeting. I mean, a lot of discussion has happened between myself, department heads, and council members. I've got a meeting at the courts tomorrow, I guess, to talk with them about public defenders. And, you know, so far what I'm getting from the council members is they're reluctant to suspend that. And one of the reasons why is because it gives some cushion to these budgets. And you saw us go through a ton of transfers today. A lot of those are taken from line items that have employees in them. And some of that money that was in there was put in there so because of the 90%, and we didn't have to make additional appropriations out of the general fund to fund it. It gives your department some cushion. And I understand the troubles that we're having and the troubles that the private sector's having with getting people hired in there. So I'm definitely, you know, we can, if the council decides they want to consider this, I'm definitely okay with moving forward and trying to find a resolution there, but that'll.
well, I'm going to disagree with Mr. Webb, but I'm going to agree that if you're requiring someone to come to work that has a CDL license, I carried a CDL license, I've carried a real estate broker's license for many years. Those kind of training is a little different than someone coming off the street to do what some of these other jobs are. And we have tried to refine that by listing those, but the CDL rule wasn't in existence when this ordinance was written.
And you know, council, I don't know if something can be done as a temporary, I need help now. And I mean, I know everybody needs help now, but I need help. I mean, I'm gonna have to give this job here now, instead of $19.23 an hour, for the first 90 days, it's gonna be $17.31 an hour. It's a turnoff.
Well, you'll have to send a letter to our president and ask him to bring that before the council.
Okay, yeah, I just thought maybe I could come up here and get it suspended for, I mean, I don't care if it was suspended for the rest of the year, so I can try to hire someone. I'm down 6, but here's the thing, here's what's gonna happen. When I do lose these people, when I keep losing people, there's nobody can do our job at the county highway better and cheaper than what we can. If we don't have the employees, we can't do it. And we're losing employees left and right for $27, $32 an hour, you know? I don't blame them. We've had employees cry because they didn't want to leave. How can you blame them? But this is something, the farther it gets put off, the worse shape I'm in, so.
Well, and to Ron's point, it's more like a comparison of a lateral transfer, right? We did that with EMS, and I believe we've done it with the sheriff's department when it's a lateral transfer, so I think that's what Ron's getting at, correct?
Yeah, that, and plus it says new hires if they have the training in the
Yeah.
in the ordinance we have right here.
I just think that we're.
Hang on, before we go too much farther, we've got a motion,
Well, he said we couldn't do it, though.
well, but are you withdrawing your motion, or are we?
Do it, yeah, withdraw it.
Okay, all right.
Can't do it, yeah.
Just trying to take care of procedure here.
Thank you.
Well, the motion's died on lack of a second, I guess.
No, he withdrew it.
Screw it.
okay.
But to be clear, I think that it's something that we need to revisit, because I think we're gonna wake up one day and really be caught with our pants down, because we're tripping over $1 to pick up a nickel. I mean, we're talking 90 days of 10% money. It's really a drop in the bucket in the grand scheme of things.
When you're borrowing $4 or $5 million a year to run this place on,
We've not
that's when
borrowed
some of this
4 or 5
stuff
million.
came around.
We have in the past.
Well, I know,
Yeah,
but
Just
we're not right now
recently.
because this council and previous councils have done their due diligence and got us out of debt.
what's the difference of spending that money on giving them their 10% now, or spending on overtime for the current employees to make up for the lack of employees?
Well, that's a
'Cause we're gonna
respect
spend
to
the
the
money
current
one way or the
employees
other.
too, the way I see it.
So Ron, I got a question for you. Is there any way, I know you've been here for a long time, I respect you, is there any way I can get around this and get this taken care of quicker, even if it's
Well, not based on the Indiana statute. That's our lawyer, I'll have to tell you that.
Okay.
The problem we have is that this is a county ordinance that sets that 90-day pay rate. That ordinance would need to either be repealed or otherwise amended, as has been done for emergency services, and that has not been brought before the council today. So at this point, it really needs to be taken care of.
Okay.
And it absolutely can be, at the council's pleasure, amended or repealed at a future meeting.
Okay.
Scott could, as president, call a special meeting, but this still would have to be advertised for 10 days, correct? Not on a special meeting? No. He could call a special meeting and we could amend this ordinance. Right, Ben? Could we do that?
Yes,
The president can, or the majority of the council can call a special meeting
yes.
to address this issue. If you need that, I'd suggest you convince the president to call a special meeting, and we'll amend this ordinance and add highway department truck drivers, or however you want to put it in there. It really should be just those jobs that require that CDL license.
Exactly, absolutely. And
It
that's
shouldn't
and
be
that's
all
it is.
the whole department.
No, if anybody came in there without a CDL, I'm good with the 90
What you
days, I
got.
have no problem.
You
Like
got
I
a
said,
90-day training period.
Yeah.
You respect those that have worked there for a long period of time and
Right.
said, hey, we're gonna put this new guy or gal right next to you, but we're not gonna pay them quite as much till they
yes,
get
sir, I
their
totally
training.
understand
That's what
that.
the intent was.
Well, and I think with the, there's another thing at play that we've discussed in the CDLs this year. There's been a major change in how you have to go about getting a CDL and the cost of that as well. I think we talked in finance, it was what, from 20,
That's what I want to say, that the CDL, it went into effect February 5th, and we have called around to get prices, and Ivy Tech is $5,200 for a 3-week training course, and we called a couple trucking companies, I think it was Sage Trucking, and theirs was 28. Now, we've looked, 28, yeah, 2,800, and we've looked around to maybe get one of our guys certified that has a CDL out there to train, and we've been told, yes, we'll work with you all the way, that this will never work. So we're still working on that, but it's hard when people come in without a CDL, and Tommy's sitting there going, yeah, we're going to hire you, but it's going to be 90% lower for 10 days, and oh, by the way, you have to pay $5,000 to go to school. So we have looked at grants. Now, I know that the motor vehicle has grants to pay for this. They've spent all their money this year. I don't know if we're toward the end of the year, is that the way they think or not, but we've got a couple other places that could help these people with grants. And we could pay, we could use that money, but it's hard. I mean, I've sat out in interviews with Tommy, and it's hard to tell people. And even in our level, or not in our level, but over here, I have a girl that's coming from another job. Actually, she's coming to the clerk's office, and by the time we give her 90%, she is going to make less money than the job she left until her 90 days are up. So it affects everyone. The 90 days is, and I've been here long enough to know, I know that 90 days, that 10% can pad that line. But it's tough. It's especially today, in today's economy, to tell, okay, yeah, we're gonna hire you, but it's for 90%. And you know, we're at Free State. I mean, we don't have to have a 90-day probation. We can have a 90-day probation. We can fire them at 30 days. We don't have to wait 90 days to do that. So I agree with Tommy. I think these people need to start at 100%.
Pam, I have a question. I apologize, I don't know the answer to this. But when our new employees hire on, do they immediately get full benefits, or is there a
No, they-
90-day period
they
for that
wait
as
60
well?
days.
60 days for
Uh-huh.
okay. So
Only
60
if you're an elected or appointed position do you get.
That's the other problem, is that after 60 days, they get insurance. Okay, so they have to start paying their portion of the insurance,
Insurance.
but yet they're still on a 90% for another 30 days.
Right.
And here, now they're having to take out of their pocket the amount of money for,
cover their portion.
to
Yep.
cover their portion of the insurance. So not only have they lost another 10%, they've lost the insurance. So instead of 90 days, to me, the 90% should match at least the 60
The same
days.
with the medical benefits.
To keep them together, because they're having to pay insurance, plus they're still on a reduced 10%.
Right.
And now they're having to fork out additional money to pay their portion of the health insurance.
Can I,
It's kind of a double whammy
Outdated
at the
program.
For a
beginning of
month,
that.
yeah.
can I say something about the padding in the budget that?
Sure.
Most of the padding in my budget happens when I can't and do not fill the position for a couple weeks. That 10% is not that much, $500. When my padding comes in, when I never fill the position the day of, it never happens. With the procedures we have to follow, you never get it filled. Rarely do you get it filled the day after you've lost someone. So you have sometimes 2 weeks to 4 weeks to longer. That's where you get that padding, where you have extra money in your line item. The 90% is not, it's pennies that you're seeing come back to county general.
Right.
Just so you have kind of a concept of what that is.
Well, I always looked at it as a respect to the employees that have tenure
Yeah, but
compared to someone that comes in off the street. Well, there's a lot of private organizations that have that.
Okay, so I won't be bringing in any employees that don't have a CDL. Everybody that I'm bringing in now, I will not even interview somebody that doesn't have a CDL because they're no good for me. I can't use them. They're dead weight. So I'm out right now, like searching for people. And I don't know, Ron, what you said, I kind of followed you. If that's possible, I would appreciate, anything you guys can do to speed the process up would be so much appreciated. I need
At this
help.
point,
Well, I
unless
can't
they call a
remember-
special meeting, you'll have to wait till next month.
That's
So
what
can we put it on the agenda for
I
next?
can't remember whether we
Special
talked
meeting,
about
right?
this or not in finance, but it sounds like the 90 days, even if we did suspend the 90 days, it's not going to be helpful to you if they're going to come in and they're paying $27, $28 an
Well,
hour for a job.
But I can't give up.
That's not
on
going to
it.
solve your problem.
But listen, I can't. I'm glad you said that. Okay, so I can't give up. If I do that, we won't have no county highway. Okay, so if I give up, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep finding a way. But I have to start with you guys, and I got to get these little things knocked off first. So the stuff that I am promoting and I am succeeding in by promoting what we are at the county highway, it gets down to the last employee. It came back to this. I mean, I had pulled the wool over, I guess if you want to say, about how fabulous we are. The guy was going to take the job. He's like, I'm not taking that kind of pay for, it's at a quarter of a year. It's a fourth of the year, and it is. I just need help here because, like I said, if I give up, we're not going to have no highway. You know, if I look at it like that, like, well, this really isn't going to help, and our wages are so low, and Joe over here is paying $37 an hour for truck drivers. I can't look at it like that. I'm out scouting. While I'm working, I'm scouting. I'm asking truck drivers I see driving trucks. You looking for a job? What are you making an hour? Are you happy with your job? So this is a help right here, I'm telling you, more than what you guys understand.
Oh, I fully understand you. I mean, I for every guy you can't get, the money we would have saved in that 90% is going to be spent on overtime with your current workers having to do the work for the people that we have that are short. So I'm 100% in support of it.
I don't want to keep talking along and everything, but anything you guys can do, if you can call a special meeting, I need this dropped. I wish I could get it dropped before the job fair. I can't. I understand I can't. Even if it's something temporary, I'll work with you guys temporary, just something
We
temporary.
just have to make a special meeting and amend this ordinance to include your
I'm going to be
CDL
the
driver.
devil's advocate here
Okay.
because Tommy's too nice.
And
If
all
we
you have to do
drop
is
it for good.
give a formal request to the president.
Because that,
Yeah.
I appreciate
We've
that.
got time before the
It's his
job fair,
decision.
yeah.
It's the president's decision.
Okay.
To call a special meeting, unless we call a vote here, it'd take 4 votes to call a special meeting, but that really gets complicated because you need to schedule.
No, if it's
other-
possible.
Other meetings.
If it's
and stuff.
possible, Scott, I mean, I don't want to put all the pressure on you. If it's possible, it would help me. If it's a big deal, we'll wait.
I'm trying to talk to you about some other things here, but everybody
Okay,
else is
go ahead.
taking the time.
Go ahead,
But
Scott.
I think we've either talked about this, me and you, together, we talked about it at the finance, I can't remember, but is there a possibility of, I don't know how long that training takes or what the best approach is to the CDL, but is there a possibility of offering to pay that for the employee out at the highway department to get a CDL and then require them to sign something that says they'll be with the county for, as an example,
Yeah.
5 years?
Actually, I'm working with Sheehan Henry on that right now. We're trying to come up with something. In the long run, that's what we're trying to look into, if there's some kind of grant or something where we can get some training. We're actually trying to get somebody licensed where they could instruct straight from the county highway. We have one person in mind that works for us, that he actually trains all the guys, or did train all the guys that came in that did not have a CDL. And so we're working, trying to figure out some ways there to do exactly what you're saying.
Well, and the other thing that we're working on, and we've talked about this too before, is for municipalities, and maybe some of the ag companies, because they're having the same issues with hiring people at a much higher rate, at twice the price that they're paying, and they can't get people. So
Exactly.
a lot of the small things that we would be doing aren't solving the issue that we have, but they may collectively help.
Well, I've started making some phone calls to some of the different counties, to their superintendents, and trying to maybe put something together about an exemption. You just make it exempt. But with that, I don't like that in a certain way because of the training. So that just means, Joe off the street that's never drove a truck's going to come in now, and I'm going to have to turn him loose in a truck. There's got to be some kind of training that goes along with that.
You would have to offer training
Correct.
there that would be similar to what the CDL, but not as in-depth. They don't have to take the test and do all the things that
Exactly.
they have to do to have the
Sure.
CDL. But I know the city of Muncie is interested in that as well, trying to, and I'm sure every other municipality in the state would be interested in.
And like I said, I
trying to-
apologize for coming up here and stuff, and I know you guys are probably thinking, man, for that, just that 90 days, it's really kind of stupid for me to come up here, but really it's came into play a couple times, and I'm just trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to do things better than it was done before. Not saying it's happening, but I'm trying. So, I'm just trying to get something done. If there's anything you can do to help me get this quicker, I appreciate it.
Okay. Any other department heads?
I have, oh, go ahead.
So would that, if we would do away with the 90%, that's almost everybody in the county except the people who work in this building, right?
That's why I say we should just do it.
Justice Center.
Do it all.
Do it all.
I mean, if a treasurer hires a cashier that's worked at a bank for 16 years, that person is trained. It's just the people in this building that are going to have to live with the 90%.
Well, it's the courts too.
Well, this
I
building.
mean,
Yeah.
Clerk's not in this building. It's up to the council, but I was just trying to solve his problem.
Well, we'll get there before the end of the meeting. Go ahead.
Just a quick thing as we come into budget time and we're talking about the 90% thing. I mean, you all know my opinion on the 90% thing, because the letter that I sent, however, one of the other things, and Mr. Quakenbush actually just jogged this in my memory, and I want to say this. I understand the theory behind paying somebody 100% coming in the door, okay? and it could be insulting to the employees that have been there a while. I will counter that and encourage departments to present to this council and to have some discussion during budget time about making a pay gap between between people and certain years of service. Because I can tell you that the comment that I get the most is if I raise somebody after 90 days to the full salary, I have people that are there 15 years that are making the same amount of money. So one of the things I would implore the council to do is have that discussion this year about how to do some type of a pay structure where you do recognize the years of service.
Council's already done that. That's why, when you look at the budgets, in 2008, I believe, council added 60% of our current longevity at the time to those positions. That made a pay difference. So when I leave, somebody is gonna come in and they're only gonna get paid my base salary. They're not gonna get that 60% that was added, because that was kind of a way of giving us long-term people a difference of somebody coming and starting at the same pay if they would have come in that day and sat beside me and made the same thing at that time. You know,
But what I'm saying,
that wasn't right. So at that time, that's why council added that 60% to kind of give us that little pay gap.
so I understand that, but people are leaving now, right? And so I have an employee that's been there a year that's making the same amount of somebody that's been there 7 years, because that goes back to 2008. What I'm saying is, going into budget time, I think you need to look at those stepped pay programs to recognize the service. I know I've shared with most of the council, the pay proposal that I am going to propose this year, every 5 years, there's $1,000 step up in salary. Right? And it maxes at 15 plus years. What I'm saying is, don't take that off the table and have that discussion this year, because, and Mr. Quakenbush hit it on the head, but that's what I hear from people is that, well, this guy's been here 6 months and he's making the same amount as I am, and I've been here 6 years, right? So there's no pay gap there, and I think that's something else you need to look at. Everybody knows my opinion. I spoke at the finance in great depth. I do think that the 90% thing is something that definitely has to be, talked about. And I'm not saying that I agree with Mr. Webb, that I think you need to suspend it until further notice. If this improves in a year, then bring it back. But you can do a 90-day probationary period for somebody and fire them if they don't work out. But tying that to the pay in what we're trying to do and trying to recruit good employees is not the right step right now. And I think as a council, you need to look at that and think about how to make it more attractive for us to get people in. That's why I sent a letter to all of you to suggest this. And I didn't know that 911 was included in that, I did, but I didn't know that, because when I asked.
The first thing I went after was this ordinance.
Because when I
read
asked,
that letter.
nobody told me that. They told me it was the jail, the sheriffs, and EMS, right?
Your department's the number one in the list.
But again, I didn't know that. Nobody wrote a book for me to hand me when I started this job, so I'm figuring it out as I go along, right?
Yeah.
So those are the things that I think you need to look at this year, because I do agree with what he said. But we have current employees that have that issue. It's not even the people that we're bringing in the door, right? People have this issue. So I'm going to shut up now, because I promised Scott I'd only be 3 minutes.
Here's my thought about that. I mean, since it keeps getting brought up and you've got department heads talking about having maybe a disparity in pay, I mean, everybody talks about getting raises every year. This is what happens when you do across the board raises. So there is no pay disparity, like you said, Director Cummings. I mean, you've got somebody that's there for 15 years, someone that is there for 1 year. So I don't disagree with that, I think. But that's also something, too, as employees. I mean, that's never necessarily been brought up to us when it comes down to it, that across-the-board raises are bad. I've never been a big fan of them, but I also want to make sure that we are giving that money back to the employee. When we start talking about that structure of disparity when it comes to someone with 15 and someone with 7, it could get probably pretty dicey. So, I mean, it is what it is. I understand it, and I get it.
But what's the difference between that and longevity?
The same thing.
Because we work so hard to get rid of longevity. And that sounds like we're going back to longevity.
That's what it is.
Yeah, you're
That's what it
exactly
is.
right.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
exactly.
that's what it is.
And longevity was a good idea, but it didn't work. It caught up with us.
Well, and that's kind of the discussion, I'm sure we'll get to, is do you reward somebody just for being here for a period of time, regardless of what their work performance, or?
No, it should.
But you also have to evaluate today's worker. Today, it's not 20 years ago where an employee would come and stay at the same company for 20 years, where you've got 70% of the employees with 20 years time in. The modern employee coming in the workforce now is going to work here 7, 8 years, and they're going to move on to the next company.
If that long.
So I don't think if we even went down that road again, it would be comparable to what happened in the past. And there's ways you could tweak a longevity. So, for example, not necessarily every year, but maybe on a scale like 5-year, 10-year, things like that, 15-year, not just every single year. But I agree with what Councilman Ballard said. Those across-the-board raises have definitely had an impact into it.
But then as soon as we don't give them,
Oh, yeah.
everybody's sideways about it.
It's gonna-
So I mean, it's a double-edged sword, you know,
Yeah.
and that's the irritating thing to me, is as soon as it doesn't happen, then you're coming at us being that we're not doing our job or something like that. Well, here we are, and this is the situation we're in because of across-the-board raises.
Any more department heads?
I have something, I suppose. I'm not a department head. Is that all right if I?
Department heads and elected officials, this is the time. Yeah.
All right, so last week, I actually had a conversation with Tommy. We were chatting about the paving project. There was an article in the Star Press, so it got us talking about some of the things going on in the county. And then anytime you see an article that's on social media, there's always a lot of confusion around, who does this paving, right? Because a lot of folks don't understand the city's in the city, the county's unincorporated county, towns do their own paving, and it gets really confusing. And so I was just talking to Tommy and kind of brainstorming, and I was like, well, what if we had like a website or a map or something that was color-coded to help people understand, and if we would see those conversations, we could chime in and be like, hey, look, this is who you contact to get help with that particular road. So I messaged Kyle with GIS and talked to him, and he was like, oh, it's easy peasy. I could do that in like 30 minutes. Well, he waited till the next day because he wanted to check some interlocal agreements and make sure he had everything correct. But we have a website now out on our county GIS website. You can get to it directly from the county Facebook page. But you type in your address, or you can even go to the map and search exactly where you are. It'll tell you the phone number, the name, the address of the government entity who's in charge of that particular roadway, and provide you with a link to report any issue to that road. So if you're in the city and you put in that address, you can click the link. It takes you to the city website to report potholes. For the county, it takes you to the highway department, Yorktown to Yorktown. It takes you to all the towns, and it's super informative because, sometimes it gets confusing, and then if you are like on a border road, it does give you information for both because that's going to pertain to the interlocal agreement with the city and county. But really interactive, great tool. So if you're talking to anyone who has any issues with understanding who's in charge of the road in front of their house or wherever they're driving, they can go to this website, look it up, and know exactly who to go contact. So I appreciate my conversation with Tommy, who helped spark my idea, and I super appreciate Kyle. Kyle is the brains behind it all. He did all the actual grunt work, but we call it whose road is it anyway? So check it out.
Well, thank you, Jessica. Thanks so much. Tell Kyle, well, he's not here, but he'll see this. Thank you so much. It helps big time, and we use it now ourselves. I mean, it's easy just to pop in there, but thank you so much. I appreciate all your guys.
Yes, yes.
And it works.
Informative.
It
Yeah, I
does
use
work.
it.
Yes,
It's
thank
very
you.
informative.
You younger people who are into social media, we appreciate it. But I would like to share something that I just learned. And I hate to say I'm starting my 9th year as a commissioner, and every day I learn something. But whoever has your sanitary district, go to them for your stormwater issues. And this is real big because the Muncie Sanitary is out in the county, like at Farmington. Yeah, so let's make a note of that, because there are a lot of stormwater issues out there. But thank you very much. Thanks, Kyle.
All right, any more department heads?
Yes, I'd like to say something.
Go ahead.
We could go,
You
Ron
go
could go
ahead.
first.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. So to touch on what Jessica said, I used that link, and it was very, very quick, very informative. So great job, Jessica and everybody who was a part of that, Tommy and everyone. So I've been making some notes over the last couple meetings, last 3 months. I know you guys have probably noticed that when we're doing our transfers, I've been asking the questions if these employees have left the county employment, if they're still here. And the reason why I did that, by my notes, we've got about 35 employees over just the last 3 months that I've been keeping track. So it's about averaging about 12 a month. Now, of those 35, we don't know. I don't know because I've not spoken with the auditor's office. I don't know how many of them got the employee retention bonus, and I don't know how many of them didn't. But I would venture to make an educated guess that at least some of them did. So the reason why I'm speaking on this now, I want to urge the department heads, the commissioners, everybody who has a role in doing their best to retain our employees, to communicate that to our current employees, that they have an obligation. That retention bonus was given to them with the expectation that they're going to remain for 1 year of employment with us. Now, we're not even 3-4 months past them get cash in the checks, and they're hemorrhaging out the door. We were told up here at this council that there would be a responsibility to remain 1 year, or they could be responsible to have to pay that money back. Now, I've spoken with several employees, and they told me that when they were given the money, that they never agreed to any of that. But that's what was presented to us. So that was my expectation when we agreed to it. So I want to just remind everybody who is an employee that there was a good faith effort made for those bonuses to be paid, and that is a mutual verbal contract, I guess it is. And you know, if you get paid for your retention services, I'd like to see everybody stick it out and do what they were expected to do. The second part of this comment is our people that were leaving. I also want to challenge our department heads to dig in a little bit more as to why they're leaving. I don't know if we do exit interviews or not. I know it's pretty easy to just chalk it up and say it's money, it's financial reasons, but you know, being an employee somewhere myself, I know that there's always lots of reasons why people leave. So, especially the ones who have been here for a while. So, I want to put some challenges on our department heads to have some answers as far as either trying to rein in a little bit of this or have some answers as to why these same people or these same departments are losing so many people. Because it's real easy to get up here and just rubber stamp a transfer and say yes, 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 but it's difficult for me to keep doing that, you know, without any answers of it. I'd like to see us kind of put it on ourselves to see what we can do to control some of that. And I know we can't control money. Just everyone do the best you can. And I know everyone already is doing a really good job. So I want to thank the employees that have stayed with us and have stuck it out. And, you know, obviously there's discussion up here every month, and we can't obviously make any promises, but know that your calls have not gone unheard, and we are listening. And we're going to do our best to try to correct some of these issues. So that's all I wanted to say. And Tommy, good luck with you in your job fair, and I hope that we can work something out with you.
Thank you, I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
The agreement, I don't know what you want to call it, the council approved for the retention bonus.
Yes, ma'am.
It says the employee must retain. Doesn't say should, will.
Shall.
It says they must retain employment for 1 year, and you're correct.
So who's
No
responsible
employees-
for that?
Huh?
Who's responsible for enforcing that? Is I guess.
I've asked that question numerous times, and nobody can tell me. Because you're right, I can tell you people that quit within the week.
You're right. I've been keeping track of them. Because for me, that's going to impact how I vote in the future.
Because the first one I knew that was quitting, I inquired who's gonna get the money back, and everybody says it's not their job. Not my
Sherry,
job.
we have a commissioner here.
No, I think she walked out.
Yeah, she's back
Sherry's right
here.
here.
Is Miss
So
Sherry here?
you've had quite a bit of people that have quit after they got that check.
And I've just been keeping track for 3 months. I don't have no clue what it was up to that point, but Commissioner Reagan, could you touch base on is there a plan to recover any of the money or to prevent other people who might be thinking about leaving?
Well, I'm just speaking for one commissioner.
Yes, ma'am.
As of now, I do not know. And I was not in favor of I voted against the extra money for many reasons.
Sure. Well,
Not that I didn't want to help
To a
our employees.
certain group of people too, you gotta remember.
Right. But it's a pretty good chunk. I mean,
It is.
because
You're right.
I remember suggesting that to stagger that $1,000, $3,000 over the course of 12 months, and it was rejected. But I was under the impression that there would be some sort of process in place to either A, recover the money, or at least an attempt to recover the money, or B, communicate to those who, because I guarantee there's plenty of people who are working who's thought about leaving, who maybe that was kind of holding them back, and now they've seen 35 people walk out the door without consequence, not having to pay the money back, and maybe now they don't have no reason to stick around anymore.
Now, I'm sorry, I cannot answer that question right now. I do not know, but
Okay, well, I appreciate you getting up here and telling us. Thank you.
Also,
Is that-
Scott, did we
Well,
all,
we're going to be done here pretty quick, I think, but
did we all get, the, council called meeting
Yeah, I see. State called meeting.
is June the,
Oh, yeah, I wanted to make sure you guys all got that email.
I don't know that I did.
what is it?
Oh, Jessica, it was probably at least a month
Bloomington.
ago.
Was it?
When the
Okay.
email went out.
We got a
Okay.
reminder like a week ago, too, I think.
Okay.
Their state called meeting.
I have it on my calendar.
Where is it?
And then
Bloomington.
And
Bloomington.
Now, for me, my baby's due around that time, so I can't register yet. Is there a way that I could come like last minute if things happen?
Yeah.
My wife's not cool with me taking off.
I don't
around
I
that
can't
time.
imagine why.
You can always show up that day, Ryan, and pay your money. And
Okay,
then we can
great.
reimburse you, but, yeah, they'll let you.
Yeah, because it's a Friday and a Saturday this time. It's 2 days.
Well, it always is.
Is it?
No.
Well, not the actual meeting.
Yeah, the meeting is actually
Yeah.
Friday afternoon and
They
Saturday
always have
morning.
something
We're
on
getting there.
Friday and Saturday, but.
If we
yeah.
tell you, will you send our registration in and
If you tell me real quick, I mean, like today.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have time
After
to
the-
be
after the
messing with
meeting.
it, I'm
Yep,
sorry.
okay. We did have 2 questions on Facebook, no emails that came through, but the first question was for Pam, I think she stepped out, was wanting to know if the job fair, if there would be a notice, so hopefully there'll be some content on social media, so I'll make sure that Kyle knows, and I'll ask Pam about that as well. And then the second was, where could they find the most up-to-date ARP plan? And that is on the county website, so if you go to the county website and go to documents, it's like just a few items down. It's right there on the website. So anyone can go on and see any of the documents that are government, Delaware County related out there on our county website under the Documents tab. But it's called Third Amended Recovery Plan, and it was published on 5/17, so. And that was it on social media.
last call. Anybody else?
I got one thing. It's on
Hurry
the
up.
light- It's on the lighter side. When I was a kid, we used to do pen pals. Now I've had to learn to be an email pal. But one of my email pals sent me some information, and it was a little political, so I cut out all the political stuff. But how many coal-fired power plants are there in the world today? It has a list of all the countries. China has 2,363. They're building 1,171 more. The Philippines, which is just islands, they have 19 and they're building 60 new ones. I've got a whole list of them here. The USA has 15 and we're building 0 more. If anybody wants a list of this, it's right here.
All right. The last thing I want from you guys is some direction on what you want to do about this 90 days. If you want to have a special meeting, I'll call a special meeting and we'll do it right here, but I need to give Ben some guidance on what you want to consider, whether you're talking about just the highway department or a reduction. So give me a little bit of input and I'll put Ben to work on that and we'll set a time if you want to have a special meeting.
I would like to do, well, obviously want to do whatever best supports Tommy, but I would like to see, is it possible to have, for example, if we couldn't get the support to completely do away with it, to do something for the amended version for the highway department. Me personally, I'd like to do it, well, completely do away with it. But if the support's not there, I don't want Tommy to get left out.
For simplicity's sake, I could prepare an amendment to 2017-05 that is a complete repeal of the 90% pay provision for the probationary period. That would be one option for adoption. And then I could also prepare a similar amendment that would only apply to the highway department for CDL licensed drivers, which would be a second option. Obviously, you would not, they would both be available. You would not have to adopt them both.
So if the first would fail, then we'd only do the second one.
It would be whatever's at the council's pleasure. I'm just suggesting that I could prepare both, and then you have options as to what you want to do.
Well, I support the meeting for,
Wouldn't you have to do the 2021 resolution? That's the last one.
Right, it was amending 2017-05.
Oh, right.
The 2021 ordinance was amending 2017-05. So
So you're just saying, we just have to do away with 2017?
I'm just referencing, I'll iron out the legal language in the ordinance. I'm just referencing the original, probationary period.
Okay.
It depends on what the intent of council would be, whether we're gonna amend that
In the
to just
amendment?
include the highway department, or if we're gonna rescind
The amendment.
in its entirety, I guess. So if we do it both ways, and then you guys can discuss that, but the soonest that we could set a meeting would be Thursday afternoon. Is that correct? We need 2 days' notice?
That's too soon.
Yeah, that's too soon.
For her to get it, yeah.
Well, he just has to have it by June 8th, right? Well, that's when the hiring fair is.
Oh, what's that?
Well, I think he's wanting it right now.
That's right.
You're wanting it right now.
Listen,
You can't possibly do it on Thursday.
I'm
but
appreciative of
that's-
anything.
that's-
Yeah, the sooner the better, but listen, anything you guys do, I appreciate.
We're working on it.
Thank you.
We're working on it.
What about Friday?
That's what I'm saying. The soonest we could do it would be Thursday, I would say afternoon.
I won't be available
but-
Friday.
That's not
Not
enough
available
time.
this week.
Friday's only
Friday,
this
and
week.
Monday's a holiday.
I'm just telling you by law the soonest we could have it. So what I was going to suggest was either Thursday or Friday.
I mean, I guess if you walk downstairs right now and typed it up and posted it.
yeah.
think you have two sitting
Yeah.
right here that will not be here.
I won't be
On
here.
Friday, I'm not
So
available.
what, Tuesday?
Week from today?
Yeah, we could do a week from
Off-site?
today.
Could we have
Tuesday
a
would-
Zoom meeting?
We would still have to have a
Sorry.
majority to cancel here to do a Zoom
Tuesday, the
meeting.
31st is pretty open.
Go with
And I'm
that.
not sure for a special meeting that would even,
Thursday the what?
Tuesday,
that
the
we could do that for a
31st.
Zoom meeting.
So a week from today.
I'd have to go look at the ordinance. So
Yeah,
Okay.
we could do the Tuesday when we come back from Memorial Day. Mm-hmm. It'll shouldn't last too long.
Let's do it,
That would give us all time and give him time to work on the ordinances.
noon or 1 o'clock, if that would work for everybody. That would give them some time to get back from Memorial Day and have at least half the day to get caught up.
Noon would be better. I have a 2 p.m. meeting
Noon?
Or what, 9 o'clock?
or 9.
9 o'clock.
Get it done in the morning.
I'm booked in the morning.
I'm good with whatever. So we can, if she said noon, I'm good with that.
What's your wife think of that?
Okay.
Hey, I'm at.
You better
Let's do
consult with her.
Let's do it 12:30 or so, because she's gonna be out, Steve's gonna be out, and we have to arrange for lunches, because we are gonna be really low on staff. So, can we do it at 12:30?
I'm open.
As long as it's quick. I have to be back by 2.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, yeah, we'll definitely be.
Should
Yeah, it's
take
not
long.
gonna- It's going to be, the only two things we can discuss will be
Becky will
the
come.
two items
Becky will
that
be
have been
me, so-
prepared.
Donna's out too.
I think it's
No.
going to take longer than you think.
Well, I would encourage discussion on this between council members between now and then. Let's kind of refine the direction that we're going, and maybe even we can relay that to Ben and come to possibly one conclusion. I don't know whether we can do that or not, but either way, we're set up for Tuesday at 12:30. What's the date on that?
Well,
31st.
hold that thought,
31st.
because I'm gonna have to run down, and make sure the room's available.
Okay.
I can text her.
We can meet out in the hallway.
Yeah. It probably is,
Tuesday the
since
31st.
nobody does
I think it
anything with
is.
us in here, so.
Is that the 31st?
What's the date on that?
31st.
31st, okay.
She's texting Jen right now,
I'm
so
just gonna call her.
good luck with it. Yeah.
Sitting 2 days long, I know that.
30,
Yeah,
You see what I mean?
yeah, I
Can
understand.
we have the room on
It's-
Tuesday
There's a lot to it. I gotta think about it a little bit.
at 12:30?
Let's go.
Thank you. Bye.
Limit it to one person.
It's Tuesday at 12:30, but Jane said it's gonna take longer, so you might have to cancel your meeting or.
I won't be able to, but I would just have to leave.
If it's gonna take me long, I know how I'm gonna vote.
it's not gonna take that long.
Right?
It shouldn't. We've already discussed it,
Okay.
Yep.
so.
All right. Well, then in that
Okay.
case, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn, second by, or first by Piper, second by Ballard. Roll call, please.
Miss Piper.
Yes.
Mr. Quakenbush.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Ballard.
Yes.
Ms. Chambers. Ms. Lassiter. Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Anybody want a copy of the coal-fired burners, coal-fired power plants?
Thank you.
Nobody
See you
cares.
guys Tuesday.
Bye, Ryan.
It's going.
Okay, it just seemed like.